what did we do from there? When I got a job at the first, when I left, I worked at Farmo before I went in the service. And am I bothering?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay now.
And I went to Farmo and I got the job back. I didn't want to work in the mill room. It was too noisy and dirty. Nah, I says, I don't want this. I don't want to work there. He said, well, that's where you left. I said, I don't care if I left there. I don't want to work there. So I went to East Moline at International Harvester. Yeah, they wouldn't hire me. He says I was too light. Okay. Then I went to John Deere, and I got fired. I got hired at John Deere. I worked there, same thing, grinder, dirty. I worked there 6 months and I quit. Then I went to International. They hired me. I said, gee, ain't that funny? They wouldn't hire me 6 months ago, but now they hired me. And I said, and I'm still weigh the same, you know. I didn't weigh that much, you know, as I was younger, you know. But they hired me. So I worked at International Harvester 41 years. Liked it. Did a good life for me, International Harvester.
What did you enjoy about working in the shop there? What was the most joyous part of it?
Work.
At IH?
Well, when I first started, it wasn't that. It was after the war, things kind of fell apart, you know. It wasn't what it is today, you know. I mean, they're going through the same thing now, you know, as what we went through at that time. It was seasonal work at one time. Where the International worked, or John Deere, is when the farm time was coming in. That's when they really worked the most. And after the harvest, it slack off. And they would lay you off and that, you know. And, well, of course, at that time, I didn't care. And there was always something else to do, you know, that I'd always done something else, you know. I went to, did roofing and siding with HomeQuest and Reliance and Bel Air. I did a lot of carpenter work, which it was good because it showed me how to do carpenter work, you know, and very good experience, you know, that I went through. And that's how I learned survival, by learning all those little trades that I picked up. It was fun.
Any other comments you want to make about working at IH? Anything you want to, that was really important to you, that happened to you, that you learned from, or you?
Well, at IH, you know, where I worked for 10 years, third shift, which I had a real good foreman, which is Ed Montgomery. Ed Montgomery was he was a super of a guy. And we used to talk about, he was a master, he was a sergeant, he was in a tank, and he was a comic, you know, and he was a good leader, and he was a good leader as a good boss at the shop, which he made me setup man. I used to set up the machines in 31. I used to set up the molding drills, the stub lathes, the engine lathes. And I did it for about 6 months. I said, Montgomery, I'm tired of that job. I said, you know, all I said is, Harry, I need this job, I need this job, I need this job, set up. I said, all I am is a babysitter for you. I said, I'm going to go back to piecework where I could work for myself and take care of myself, and I don't have to take care of anybody else. Whatever you want to do, Harry, that's up to you. But I tell you, he was a wonderful foreman, really. The best I had seen international at Montgomery. And I'll never forget him because he was super of a guy. And, oh, he could be a stinker at times, but yeah, that didn't bother me. At one time he had all the guys, during the, like say the next day was 4th of July, he would have his guys go home early so he could go home. And I said, you know what, you guys are not thinking. What do you mean? He gets paid and you don't get paid. I said, I think that's wrong. I says, you're favoring to Montgomery. What difference does it make? You let him go home because tomorrow's a holiday, and he went home and slept, so he's going to get up and go party, he's going to go fishing and that, but he went home with a full pay and we're going home with a short pay. Now, I said, I'm going to stop that. And the next holiday come along, and it must have been 100 in that shop, and he's closing the windows. I says, what are you doing? I'm closing the windows. I said, you know how hot it is? Yeah, but I'll make you go home. No, you're not going to make me go home. I'm going to go see the superintendent, Bud Horse. He's dead today too, you know. He was a paratrooper. I used to talk to him because my brother Willie was a paratrooper and he was 82nd Airborne. He was 82nd Airborne. When I told him about my brother Willie, that man took a big like for me because I talked to him about the paratroopers. And I says, I got a problem. He said, what's your problem, Harry? Montgomery, you know how hot it is? Yeah, it's hot, Harry. Montgomery closed all the windows, and that little air we get helps a little bit. Oh, Harry says, Montgomery, just kidding you. I said, not when you close my window. So Bud Hort comes, and he caught him closing. What are you doing, Ed? I'm closing the windows. Do you know how hot it is? Yeah, it's hot. I said, would you open every window you close? He made him open all the windows. Montgomery comes up and says, Harry said, I'll get even with you. You didn't have to go see him. But that's the only guy that could do it, Montgomery, because I couldn't do it. And I told you to open the window, and you said, no, I'm not. So I went over your head. And that was the end of us going home early because I stopped that. From there, I become a union official. First time that I tried to run for a union official, Montgomery says, whatever you guys do, don't vote for Harry. Don't vote for Harry. He's a stinker, you know, because he can do things, and you guys don't want to do things that he wants to do. I got one vote. That was mine. I says, and I told old Pete Katurcha, I said, you know, Pete, I said, this is funny, and he was a Regional 4 director for UAW. Would you believe that I run for a union official? Guess how many votes that I got? Pete says, how many, Harry? One, mine. He couldn't stop it. It ain't funny. It ain't funny, you know. Boy, he's got those guys in that department, Buffalo. That's all right. I'll get there. When I got there, I was a union official for 22 years, and I did my job. And I told a lot of the guys, I'm not running no more. But I was unopposed for 22 years. I was unopposed, so I must have done a good job as a union official. Yeah, I was a trustee. I was an executive board. I was an recreational committee, and I held a job for a long time. And I also was a fireman for 22 years. And I got along with Dick Engel. Dick Engel was one of my buddies too, which he's dead today too. He was a super of a guy. A lot of guys didn't like him, but I did.